Good morning, traders. Welcome to today's market review. This is Razak at CMtrading. Today is May 27, 2021, and today is Thursday morning. So looking at the highlights of the day, the market's consolidating on lighter volume. Seems that summer trading is here already. Now looking at the major economic events of the day, just one event coming out of the United States at 2:30 South African time, preliminary quarterly GDP numbers coming out. Now that's not a major number, but if there are any surprises, you do want to know it's coming out. Now looking at the various markets, it's a much lighter volume market, especially since we have Memorial Day holiday on Monday next week, which means most of the US markets will be closed. So looking at the Forex symbols, taking a break on resistance versus the US dollar as the major pairs kind of consolidate at this area. Now looking at the indices, the Dow Jones and the Nasdaq both taper off. In commodities, also pretty much unchanged. Facebook still on resistance. And lastly, Bitcoin unchanged. So the market's really consolidating. So let's take a look at the markets and see what we can expect from today's trading. So here we go with the Eur Usd. Looking at a 4-hour chart, we retraced from 122.56. That was our high. And then coming down to this 121.93-ish level. So we are in a tight range, okay? For all intents and purposes, breaching this moving averages, but it's really insignificant because we're tapering off at a major level. If we look at a weekly chart, that is a major level at 122, as that has been the resistance. Now looking at the GBP USD, also retracing, the dollar getting a little bit stronger, and also the Canadian dollar, the US dollar versus the CAD, the dollar, the US dollar that is, bouncing here at 121.24, did not breach that 120-ish level, which would have probably led us to that 115-ish level next. Now looking at commodities, they're consolidating again. We're looking at gold retracing here. Let's look at a 4-hour chart below 1900, just below 1899, but really unchanged for all intents and purposes, between yesterday to today. And oil also on resistance-ish level at 65.84, but not breaking lower and at that level. Okay, so I don't expect any major moves, but I do expect it to continue to trade between these two variants of 66.35 and 61.85 potentially. Okay, so keep that in mind. Now looking at the Dow Jones, tapering off yesterday, but just 100 points, nothing really to write home about. Tomorrow we have an inflationary number. Even if it's a slightly important inflationary number, it's an inflationary number nonetheless and could add some weight to the markets. Looking at the Nasdaq, also pretty much unchanged here at that resistance level at 13,700. When we look at the individual stocks, Facebook was the strong one at 325. Now at these levels, I do expect it to retrace. I don't expect it to break out, but if it does break out, that's a major move. Okay, when we look at the other major players, Apple was down just slightly, really unchanged. If we look at JP Morgan and Alcoa, both really not doing much. Okay, so in terms of the stock markets, summer trading is already here. Maybe people taking early vacation already. Now looking at Bitcoin, this is really unchanged. If we look at a daily chart, over the last week, we've had a very consolidated week between $38,000 to $39,000 a Bitcoin, okay? And that's relatively a very tight range for it to be in. I mean, considering our debacle from last week, and then previously, as we've always been, or most always been, in a quite aggressive range. Right now, we're consolidating and it's getting a little bit tighter, which may be a prelude to a bigger move coming up. Now, I'm not celebrating that too soon, just because the markets are really still digesting the new price of Bitcoin. So just be aware of it, okay? Don't push it too hard on this type of Thursday, just as we're going into the weekend. People taking already a extended weekend by taking off from today to tomorrow. So I do expect markets to be a little bit lighter volume. This is Razak. I want to wish everybody a great trading day. Thank you.